Can you tell us about your motivations for why you became a journalist?
I became a journalist because I love journalism. I love facts. When my brother and my dad introduced me to Noam Chomsky, it just opened up a whole new world for me, and I loved it. I loved how Chomsky just assembled facts, appealed to people's common sense, showed with such thorough documentation the ways in which our rulers manipulate us to do unspeakable things, and I just wanted to be a part of that. I like knowing the truth, and I like to spread the truth and to help shed light on horrible things. So I've always been interested in politics and media. I read at a young age, there was an article in New Yorker magazine about a massacre in El Salvador, in a place called El Mozote, by US armed death squads. And I remember comparing that to I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and I remember like it was a very jingoistic time, and I can remember I just remember comparing what I was reading in this article by Mark Danner, I believe it was by, with what was presented in the media, and I saw the very quickly the contrast and how easily people are fed lies, and I just thought that was such a huge noble service to humanity to give people the truth so they know what's being done in their name, and to speak up for people who have no voice, who've been silenced with literally with murder at the hands of forces armed by our governments. And I just wanted to be a part of that. So I went to a school in Montreal called Concordia, and there I was there when the first sorry I was there when the second Intifada broke out in 2000. And on my campus at Concordia, there was a really active Palestinian student group, and I was just so inspired by how they mobilized, how they organized together, and with very little resources, were able to have an impact, to spread awareness about what Israel was doing, to have an impact on student government, and to stand up against really cynical people in the Zionist movement who were trying to silence them. And at that time, there was a lot of Islamophobia, which of course ramped up when 9/11 happened. And I was inspired by their courage and their ability to represent their people, and I wanted to be a part of that in the way that I could. And so that helped put me on the path to journalism. And then in 2004, there was a coup in Haiti, and I'd always been interested in Haiti after reading people like Noam Chomsky and Paul Farmer, the first free country in this hemisphere, founded by slaves and punished for its freedom by France and the US. Like after the Haitians rose up and freed themselves, France and the US teamed up to basically punish the people of Haiti. Ever since 1804, Haiti had to pay reparations to France for its freedom up until the Second World War. And I was always so inspired by that, and inspired by the people's movement electing someone that came from their movement, Jean-Bertrand Aristide, in the early 1990s, and then knowing he was overthrown by in with the backing of the U.S. And then in 2004, he gets overthrown again. And this time Canada, where I'm from, was involved. And so me and my friend Yves Engler went to Haiti to observe what was happening right after the coup. And I saw on the ground the contrast between what we were being told in public and what was the reality. And so I did my first sort of article for a Canadian newspaper on a political topic then, and I loved it. I loved the experience of telling the truth on something where marginalized people who were up against the most powerful governments in the world were being silenced. And I just, as someone from the West with that kind of privilege, I wanted to use the voice I had to give voice to them. And I just loved doing that. So that's what I've done ever since.
While you were at Concordia, I think Benjamin Netanyahu
Yes.
came to speak, and you and this pro-Palestine group on campus, you guys organized a demonstration, and I think you got arrested, right?
Yeah.
And did you get expelled or nearly expelled?
No, I wasn't nearly expelled. I was charged, but they ultimately dropped the charges. And I can't remember now if there was some sort of internal disciplinary thing, but the threat of expulsion was never there, no.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what exactly happened? Netanyahu was coming to speak on campus.
Yeah, there was basically an intifada on campus. Netanyahu was coming to speak. This is September 2002, a year after 9/11. At this point, Israel's crackdown on the second intifada is in full swing. This is after Jenin, after so many killings by Israel of Palestinians demonstrating. And so passions were very high. And the Palestinian student groups and their allies organized a rally to stop Netanyahu, and they did, and they did. And a key like moment in that protest was when police grabbed me from the crowd and pinned me down, and you can see me struggling with them on camera, and then somebody smashed a window, and then just all hell broke loose. But but Netanyahu was canceled.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was he prime minister at the time, or
No, he was out of power, but he was not prime minister at that point.
Sharon was in power at the time? I think.
That would have been Sharon. Yeah.
Interesting. Does this footage exist online? Have
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
If I can't find it, you'll have to link it to
There's
me.
a documentary about it.
Okay, well, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Was it like it was a Canadian
It's
public?
called
radio?
Discordia. It's made by the National Film Board, which is a Canadian institution. There's actually a few There's also was a hit piece put out by a major corporate network in Canada whose owners at the time were very Zionist. So they did this hit piece on us. But this film, Discordia, is more nuanced. It follows myself, a Palestinian student, and a Zionist student. And listen, it's embarrassing for me. It's embarrassing for me because there were moments in that film I don't like the way I acted. I crumbled a little bit. Going back to what you were saying before about the pressures on anti-Zionist issues,
Yeah.
I did crumble a little bit in the face of Zionist pressure. I did a little bit, not fully. I did. I had some tactical disagreements with some of my allies, but I worked it out in the wrong way. And I'm embarrassed by that. And the film, it's good for the film because it adds some drama. But
No, it happens. There's a lot of things from my youth that I'm like also embarrassed about, but I don't think it's a big deal. I think obviously your career, you've done a lot for Palestine, and I think a lot of people are proud of you for that.